Hi, hello. I introduced myself this morning very briefly. And yeah, I'm a PhD student at the Actor Institute in Tübingen. And I'm doing my PhD in collaboration also with the Hochschule der Medien in Stuttgart, which is an institute that's a bit more technology focused than the Actor Institute in Tübingen. So today I will be talking about my PhD project, and I will be covering first the theoretical background, so I'm going to bore you a bit, and then I will talk about my goals, and then the video game that I'm developing, and the current status of the video game, and then the studies that will be connected with the video game. So I would like to start with a bit of a theoretical background regarding the application of digital technology in education, which is essential part of my project. So this technology has been used for many years now, and is it the first game? Have been used for many years, and they've then produced interesting, promising effects about the use of this technology in education and also other subjects. So another essential part of my project is history, because as I mentioned this morning, I'm an archaeologist. I did archaeology. I also used to do archaeological digs. So history and archaeology are very well connected with me, and this is essential part of this project. And then the reason of history has always been seen as a subject, for many years has been seen as a subject that it's just about dates, events, like learning just specific things like when the Second World War started, who did, but it's also learning this thing, but it's also history is also about understanding these things. Sorry. And it's also about like critical thinking, understanding why something has happened, and how we can look in the past and see the present. So that's an important part. Yeah, and then I would like to talk. History has already been used. So historical has already been used in historical video games, and what helps with educational, like with digital technology and history, is using video games can help to give you a context, because what happens sometimes students look at the past with the eyes of the present, and this can create misunderstandings. So what video games can help, or like a digital environment, you can put yourself in an environment and understand that better. So, and this research has already been done, especially with commercial video games, historical commercial video games, like a famous historical commercial, very popular commercial video games are Assassin's Creed series, which it's a very popular one, and it's being used in several research. And also like other games like Civilization, which is a strategy video game. These have been used in research already. Then moving forward, another crucial part is between video games and intercultural outcomes. With our societies becoming more multicultural, especially because of geopolitical situation in Europe, we are in a situation where you have to find a balance between, like in Europe, the European cultural heritage, and then the heritage of people that come from different countries and realities, to increase tolerance and avoid marginalization of certain groups. In fact, it's been proven that a well-designed video game has the potential to facilitate a range of positive intercultural outcomes, and this can reduce prejudice, intercultural competence, and racial bias. And even though this is promising, there is still a bit of a gap in the research. So that's where my project also falls in, to try to fill up these research gaps. So then in this slide, kind of both things come in. So the fostering intercultural camp in history classes, because the implementation of historical video games are very well suited to like history classes is a good place to learn about different cultures, and then also in order to foster integration among students with different backgrounds. So in conclusion, the goals of my PhD project will be to fill up these gaps that are in the research by contribute to the body of knowledge in this subject, and also by developing and then systematically testing my video game. So now I would like to talk a bit about the video game. So the video game, it's called Limes, which for who might not be familiar, Limes is a term used in Roman history to identify the borders of the Roman Empire. So some of the most important ones would have been like the Rhine River and the Danube were like the borders of the Roman Empire, or like in northern England, the Adrian Walls. So, and that's the title of the game, because that's going to be a crucial part of the game. So in here I did this diagram, this framework, which it's partly a modification of a framework that I used during my master dissertation, where I developed at the time a very small 2D video game about the Roman history of the city of York in northern England. And then in here I show a bit the steps to go through in order for me to making the video game. So first of all, it's important for me to go through the resources and understanding the historical resources available and archaeological resources to understand, and then to understand what should be included in the narrative of the video game, and then adapting this the historical and the archaeological information within the story of the game, and then creating like the actual characters that will be playing in the video game. So from this I went through, I had the luck to, thanks to the Hochschule der Medien Stuttgart, to talk with the game designers, also I followed the game designing classes, and then I could talk with people about this in order for me to get better, and then being able to write the story of the game, which at the beginning of my PhD was probably the most difficult thing. Like I wrote the story many times. Like if I compare my very first story to the one that I ended up using, they're completely different things. And then the idea would be, after the game is created, I will beta testing the game to understand the possible adaptation, modification for a experiment in real classroom. Okay, so now we'll talk a bit about the game. So initially, I wanted to do a 3D video game. Like this is a character that I did, and like it would have been like pixel, it would have been like 3D Pixar style, like cartoony style. And I really wanted to do that, but then I realized that I didn't have the time and the resources to do that, because just to make this character, it took me quite a lot of time. And then I had the luck to test a small version of a prototype game in the Hochschule der Medien, and there I discovered that this prototype version was a 2D version. And then many students were happy with it, and then I said that I wanted to do that in 3D, but then one of the main feedback was that 3D games could have had, historical game could have had high expectations on people. So I thought myself, instead of going through the 3D, making a 3D one, which I didn't have the time and resources to do that, I moved to making a 2D one. And in the time that I did this character in 2D, I was able to do much more. I did like all the main characters, the NPC, the animals, the animations in the game. So I was able to do more. Also like the different levels that would be in the game, like from the Germanic villages, from the Roman fort, the Linz fortification, and the forest. So now I will talk a bit about the historical period where the game is based. The game is based in the 3rd century BC in Baden-Württemberg in southern West Germany. At the time, that area was split in 2 parts, because one part was controlled by the Romans, and then the other rest was controlled by the Germanic tribes. And the main Germanic tribe in that area was called the Alemanni, was the most powerful in the area. And so the video game is based mainly on the relationships that there were between the Romans and the Germanic tribes, with particular attention to the Alemanni. And then many sources, archaeological sources that I took as an inspiration and also within the game, came from Allen Castle Fort, which is still an archaeological site, a very popular, famous archaeological site in Baden-Württemberg. So I took many inspiration and about the historical and archaeological sources from that side. So then now I will try to talk a bit about the actual story of the game and the characters that are within the game. So basically, in the game, the players has the choice to be either a boy and a girl. This is not going to change the story. It's mainly to give the player a gender choice, so they can choose either to be a boy and a girl. So and then you will experience this environmental relationship between the Romans and the Germanic tribe from the eyes of this child. So these are you can either be this boy or the girl. And then in the story, then the child is basically the daughter or son of a Alemanni chief. And then basically the boy and the girl, the child gets tricked by this guy, which is an advisor of the chief, and he wants to start a war with the Romans, because historically speaking, that period, the Roman Empire was having problems in several areas of the empire, and the Germanic tribe were pushing to gain more territory out of the Romans. So in these scenarios, this guy, he wants a war in order for the Germanic people to get territory, to become more powerful. However, when the child gets captured and tricked by this guy, he gets captured by the Romans. And the Romans wants to avoid war because they can't afford a war. So the game is basically the story of this child that has to go back. He has to get escorted by the Roman centurion back to his village. So it's basically it's this story of this journey where there are these 2 entities, the child and the Roman, that hate each other because they don't like each other, because they're different, they have prejudice against each other, they don't like each other. But then through this, the levels of the game, the relationship starts to evolve. They face difficulties and dangerous situations and become friends. So at the end of the end of the game will be like also like this kind of a friendship. So the levels of the game is based in 5 levels. So the beginning, when the child gets tricked and captured, and then the rest, it would be the child going back home with the centurion helping the child. Each level contains the main mission, which the player must do in order to carry on with the story of the game. And however, also each level contains secondary, non-mandatory missions. So if you and then it contains several NPC that you can interact with. So you can talk to these people. So, but these things are up to the player. If the player explores the environment, he can experience more things. And this is connected also with the rating system of the game. So basically, the player will get rewarded if he completes the secondary mission, if he talks with the NPCs. So more stuff he does in the level, more his reward will be bigger. And then with the NPC, it's basically connected to a codex system that I developed for this game. So sometimes you can talk to NPC and gain informations that are highlighted in the conversation, and then you get a notification that you got this information in the codex, which the player can access anytime, and then he can read more about, and it can be about an historical figure, about an event, or in this case, this is about the Hadrian's Wall. So then the player can read more about this thing. But the only way to unlock these things is for the player to have a conversation with the NPC, to interact with the NPC, or to do also the secondary mission. So then about some of the game dynamics in the video game are like in here. A main one is like stealth situation, so you have to run away and not being caught by guards, and then or there is throwing rocks. Like in this case, there is the player is throwing rocks to mice, or like horse races as well. And this, like, sometimes they are connected with the main missions, other times they are more like related to the secondary mission, a bit of mix according to based on the narrative within the game. So at the current stage, the game is actually nearly done. I just need to polish and make it look a bit better. So I need to add audio, a bit of lightning effects and things like that. And then currently I'm getting my dialogues translated to German, because then the game will be in two languages, in English and German. So, which hopefully should be done in the next weeks. Okay. Then I will do so when the game is ready, hopefully soon, I will be doing my beta testing in the Computerspielschule in Stuttgart, which is an institute where children or like people from any age group can play educational games. And I know these people thanks to the Hochschule der Medien, so because they are connected. And in the Computerspielschule, I can do a beta testing where I can gain feedback about the game and understanding important things, how people play, how will they react to the game. So this is going to be good to understand the video game in general. Then this will be followed up by my second study, which is going to be an experiment to understand the academic and intercultural outcomes of the video game. In this case, my focus will be fifth, sixth grade students from German schools. And then the experiment will be based in 3 groups. So one group will play the video game. Like the second group will not play the video game, but they will read like an online version of the game, kind of a story or comic book. And then there will be a third group that are not going to do neither of those things. They will, let's say, they will learn in the traditional way. So, and then in this case, thanks to this experiment, I can compare like group 1 and group 2 in order to understand which one has more positive effects, whether I can compare that. And then I can compare group 1 and 2 with 3, which will indicate whether the game condition or the ready condition are better than doing the nothing condition, basically. So this would be the next step of making after the beta version. This would be the last step of making this game. Yeah. So this is Thank you for listening. Yeah.